Tonight on West Dakota Fox News at 9, April snow causes a major scare on a South Dakota runway. Plus, who came out on top at this weekend's GOP convention. But first, the Bismarck method of parking enforcement can be chalked up as a thing of the past.
This is West Dakota Fox News at 9 with Molly Martinez and meteorologist Henry Blakes. Your first news of the night starts right now on West Dakota Fox News at 9.
Good evening, I'm Molly Martinez. Well, it's a surefire way to ruin your day. Coming out to your parked car and finding a yellow ticket slipped under your windshield wiper. And more of those tickets are being issued after a change in enforcement policy. Reporter Daniela Hurtado shows us.
Molly, the money from all those citations is spread out to many different programs. Technology is making it easier to keep track of where cars have parked too long.
They remember the chalk days and think that if they move their vehicle and come back to the same area, it's going to make a difference.
This is how parking enforcement used to mark car tires. Chalk markings, which could easily wash off with snow. The digital change allows them to track cars easily.
People have to be more cognizant of actually following the rules instead of finding their loopholes.
Many people park in 90-minute parking in the downtown area. But if you don't set a timer, hey Siri, set a timer for 90 minutes. Okay. Then you can be in a little bit of trouble. You could get cited.
Some vehicles obviously just park too long. Others park in areas where there's no reparking.
All citation money goes back into the city's general fund. The Bismarck Police Department says it's issued more than 7,000 parking citations in 2011. And last year, it was more than 10,000.
In political news, it was a weekend of surprises at the state GOP convention. Some of the major endorsements the party doled out were uncontested, like Kevin Cramer for Senate. But others turned out to be major upsets. The biggest shocker was the Secretary of State race. Incumbent Al Jaeger has held the office since 1993, but this weekend, newcomer Will Gardner walked away with the party's backing. I spoke to some delegates who say Jaeger is a pretty traditional guy, so it's unlikely he'll remain in the race through the primary. Jaeger seconded that when we spoke to him. Other decisions out of the weekend, Kelly Armstrong for House. Minutes after accepting the endorsement, this is what he told us.
Obviously, I'm heartened by it. We worked really hard to get in touch with as many delegates as possible. We worked really hard to get our message out there.
Armstrong will square off against Max Schneider, but will likely face some intra-party competition from Tom Campbell in the primary. You know, Henry, we almost didn't make it back from the convention in Grand Forks because of this snowstorm.
Yeah, thankfully that one's gone, but we got another one that's underway.
Thanks, Henry. Tonight, the hockey community is mourning an insurmountable loss. Reporter Molly Hurley shows us the accident that hit close to home.
Minot State sophomore and hockey player Kent Walczyk says he'll remember his friend and former teammate Logan Schatz. He's one of 15 who were killed Friday in an accident shaking the hockey community.
I'd just like to say that he was a great leader, a great guy, a great captain, and he's going to be truly missed by not only me, by everyone in the Saskatchewan area and beyond.
The Canadian team was traveling to Nipawin for a game before colliding with a semi. Traveling by bus is something Coach Wade Regier and his team often do, as with many teams across the state.
Definitely hits home. It's going to be tough to hop on a bus again.
You know, we'll come together, and it'll be, we want to make sure that they are remembered, and that's all we can really think about at this point.
Coach Regier says that he had been recruiting players from this Broncos team, and he's seen the impact that this tragedy has had on his players, and says he hopes to help this team through this difficult time.
Push on and honor those players by playing the game that you love, and it's a tragedy, and we're going to all be hurting for a long time, but what would those guys be thinking at this point? They'd be thinking, don't worry about us, go out and play and live your life, and I think that's the message that I'll be giving our guys.
Bringing together the hockey world to remember these fallen players and coaches. In Minot for West Dakota Fox News at 9, I'm Molly Hurley.
Another bus crash to tell you about, this time in Long Island. A charter bus full of teens on their way home from a spring break trip slams into a highway overpass, shearing off the top of the vehicle. This is the video from the scene late Sunday night. You can see the broken glass on the road. At least 6 of the more than 40 people on board have been seriously injured. Passengers landing at the Sioux Falls Regional Airport in South Dakota Sunday were in for a scare. Heavy snow caused this Allegiant flight to skid off the runway. Airport officials say the plane slid about 20 feet. The flight from Las Vegas was carrying 155 passengers and 6 crew members. A 27-year-old Texas woman faces charges of reckless endangerment after she accidentally fired a gun while cleaning it. It happened in Minot's Beaver Ridge Plaza. Police say the bullet went through the floor of her apartment down to the unit below. Police found the bullet hole in her downstairs neighbor's ceiling and the bullet itself on the floor. In legal news, a cook at the jail in Rugby is accused of having sex with a female inmate. Prosecutors say 51-year-old Marcelo Lara of Towner worked with a 33-year-old inmate to prepare meals. We're told he was her supervisor and that they had consensual sex in the walk-in cooler at the Heart of America Correctional Facility. He's charged with abuse of a ward. Police and Metro Ambulance revived an unconscious woman at the Bismarck Public Library Saturday afternoon. They say an employee found the 36-year-old in the bathroom stall. Paramedics administered Narcan as she regained consciousness. They say she had track marks in her arms, but they did not find any drugs in the bathroom. Surveillance video shows 2 women going in and out of the bathroom several times in the moments prior. And vandals have once again targeted the Bismarck Event Center. Police say they broke windows twice last month, then tried again on Friday. Police say an employee heard a loud noise and saw a man in the parking lot. He then chased him down, but the man got away. They later found a brick near the window. Police say they don't know if all 3 incidences are related. And turns out a crude oil spill from the Keystone Pipeline in South Dakota last November is nearly twice the size than originally reported. A spokesperson for TransCanada says more than 400,000 gallons spilled onto farmland when the pipeline broke near Amherst. TransCanada had originally put the spill at 210,000 gallons. Today, the University of Mary is hosting the North Dakota Clothesline Project. It's a display of T-shirts with messages of hope for victims of violence. The shirts are color-coded, signifying different types of victims, and they're decorated to represent a particular woman or child's experience. They'll be on display until tomorrow. Today's April 9th, and usually by now people are outside, people are out running, walking, or golfing. But the snow and the cold has stranded most of those inside. Maddie Jelseth found a few athletes who have not yet thrown in the towel.
Most people I spoke to told me they'd rather be working out outside than inside. But despite the weather, they'll be burning calories no matter what. Patrick Joyce works out at Proximal 50 during his lunch break. He says he's glad he has a place to work out when there's snow on the ground.
Compared to outside when it's treacherous out, it's great. It serves all my purposes.
Joyce says he can't wait until it gets nicer out. So then he does have the option of working out under the sun.
Any day of the week, if I could work outside, I would work out outside.
Proximal 50 program director Jordan Mormon says he's seen an increase of athletes due to the weather, and his Proximal Pulse classes are a popular workout.
We're getting close, hopefully, to where you can learn a few things inside in some of these workouts that you can transition to bringing outside with you.
Mormon says the heart rate-based training is a great class to get athletes prepared for a warm-up, so they can use what they've learned from the classes when they're working out outside. Working out at Proximal 50. For West Dakota Fox News at 9, I'm Maddie Jelseth.
Chemical attack in Syria over the weekend has killed at least 40, including women and children. Today in Washington, President Trump had a decision to make on how the U.S. should respond. Fox News correspondent Connor Powell has more from Jerusalem.
Another deadly chemical attack in Syria over the weekend, targeting rebels in a Damascus suburb. President Trump claims the Syrian government is responsible. He's meeting with senior military leaders at the White House today and says, quote, major decisions will be made about the U.S. response in the next 24 to 48 hours.
This is about humanity. We're talking about humanity. And it can't be allowed to happen.
U.S. military assets in the region are now being deployed to positions around Syria, including the USS Donald Cook, the same type of warship that fired cruise missiles at a Syrian base last year. The Pentagon now looking to Russia, Syria's most powerful ally, for answers about how the chemical attack was allowed to happen.
The first thing we have to look at is why a chemical weapon still being used at all when Russia was the framework guarantor of removing all the chemical weapons.
But the Russian government denies the attack took place, calling it a provocation by rebel groups and accusing the U.S. of fabricating a crisis in order to justify keeping American troops in the region.
These parties, primarily the members of the American coalition and the Americans, aren't aiming to leave Syria, but to settle there for a very long time.
The Pentagon is also consulting with U.S. allies in the Middle East, Europe, and elsewhere, hoping to present a unified response to the chemical attack. In Jerusalem, Connor Powell, Fox News.
Also in Washington, federal agents seized documents from President Trump's longtime personal attorney, Michael Cohen. Raids took place today in both of Cohen's offices, at home and in New York. Cohen's lawyer, Stephen Ryan, says the agents were armed with search warrants. He says the raids were carried out by the U.S. Attorney's Office. It was reportedly based in part on a referral from special counsel Robert Mueller. President Trump tweeting that the raids are, quote, a witch hunt. Take a look at this. A 1-year-old was hit in the head with an oxygen canister on an American Airlines flight Saturday. The injury occurred after a panel from the ceiling fell during landing. The child was sitting on his mother's lap in a window seat. The toddler's mother said the airline told her to wait at the gate to report the incident, but she says no one showed up. A spokesperson for the airline says it is a, quote, unfortunate incident. At least 5 people are injured after a strong earthquake rocks western Japan. The 6.1 magnitude quake struck about 7 miles underground near the city of Oda. Local officials say roads were cracked in some locations and more than 1,000 homes were damaged. A teen is back in custody tonight after escaping from a Nashville juvenile detention center earlier today. The teen managed to slip out after a riot broke out. 4 inmates were injured in the melee. It's unclear how exactly the teen escaped. And the body of a Tennessee murder suspect appears to have been found in Mississippi. Jasper County Sheriff's Office confirming Casey Lawhorn's body was discovered today. Deputies say he died of an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound. Lawhorn is believed to have murdered his mother and a friend in Tennessee before fleeing the state. In business news, Ford is recalling 350,000 F-Series pickup trucks and Expedition SUVs in North America. The company will fix a problem that could cause the vehicle to roll away even when the transmission is in park. There have been 1 crash and 1 injury. Dealers will inspect the recalled vehicles for free and make any required repairs. And from 4 wheels to 2, Uber is getting into the bike sharing biz with its purchase of Jump. The company's dockless bikes can be left anywhere. The bikes remain disabled until the next user unlocks them with a code on their smartphone. Jump had more than 12,000 bicycles in 40 cities across the country last year. For now, the bikes cost $2 for 30 minutes. Henry, we're not even close to biking weather.
Yeah, nowhere close, especially if we keep getting snow. Things are going to be a little better over the next couple of days.
Welcome back. Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg is in Washington to face Congress amid allegation that the company shared users' personal information for monetary gain. Fox News correspondent Caroline Shively is in Washington with the story.
Facebook's mastermind on Capitol Hill today, Mark Zuckerberg meeting with lawmakers before 2 days of testimony on the privacy scandal plaguing his company. The 33-year-old holding separate talks with Senators Bill Nelson and John Thune, who invited him to testify.
If we don't watch out with social media and platforms like Facebook and the mistakes that they made in the past, then no American is going to have any privacy anymore.
The social media network facing criticism after British firm Cambridge Analytica gained access to the personal information of 87 million Facebook users. This comes after concerns the site was used for Russian interference in the 2016 election.
Mark's happy to go to Congress because Mark wants to answer every question people have about the service we offer. You know, we really believe in social experiences.
The Senate Commerce and Judiciary Committee is holding a joint hearing with Zuckerberg on Tuesday, and he will appear before the House Energy and Commerce Committee on Wednesday. That panel releasing a prepared statement from Zuckerberg today in which he says, quote, "I don't want anyone to use our tools to undermine democracy," adding, "We were too slow to spot and respond to Russian interference."
Meantime, Apple company founder Steve Wozniak says he's leaving Facebook over the controversy. Wozniak said users provide every detail of their life to Facebook, and Facebook makes a lot of advertising money off this, but users get none of it back. Wozniak said he'd rather pay for Facebook than have his personal information exploited for advertising. Easter has come and gone, but winter still isn't letting go. The Bismarck Public Library is celebrating a little bit of spring by giving people something to do with their leftover peeps. The peep dioramas will be officially displayed starting tomorrow. The library says they already have 27 dioramas. The scenes depict either movies or books.
You know, the iconic line from Soylent Green is people, just kind of lent itself to a Peeps display. And yeah, if you can work cannibalism into marshmallow chicken somehow, that's...
Henry, this is some wishful thinking for spring.
Yeah, most definitely. We'll get a couple of days of spring this week, but afterwards winter does return, but south of the interstate. Otherwise, yeah, we can always hope for summer.
Hey Henry, what did the marshmallow factory employees say when they went on strike?
What did they say?
Don't make a peep.
I like that.
All right, we'll see you tomorrow.